It's a great movie.
Oh my god.
Great.
Dr. Naira Kane and Digacello. Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Oh shit. No,
I,
dude.
I, I,
You can't
I'm
make movies
upset
like
that
that nowadays.
you can, he can, and
He
he
can,
has.
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I understand why they can't have a second season
Yeah.
because everybody found him out. Like, apparently, Sarah Palin, um, had a cease and desist on him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like he would not would not let him play the clip with her.
Oh, fuck.
And apparently, I guess she had it ironclad. And also that one senator from like Alabama, where he did the pedophile detector. A dude tried to sue him.
I don't know why they just don't get up and leave the interview. You know what I
He
mean?
did. He did.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Well, what they do, Sacha Baron Cohen's actually like a master manipulator.
Yeah.
Like, he's like taken theater and he's also taken psychology.
Yeah.
So he knows how to get people to sound racist or misogynistic or
Yeah.
anything like that with just just through simple psychology of certain
Oh,
things
wow. That's
like that
actually
he could say.
interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
If you ever listen like what he does, like and what he does like he only shows like when he's that Israeli counter-terrorist, they do like legit exercises. Then every once in a while they'll throw in like these silly ones.
Oh,
And they're
okay.
like, "Oh, okay." So they kind of convince him that this is legit.
Yeah. All right.
So,
You see my Christmas outfit thing?
yeah.
I don't care if no one likes it. I'm playing Christmas music, okay? You ready to go? It's 9.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
do this.
I'm muting Mike.
Muting my and mute the stream so it doesn't play out loud. All right, here we go.
It's not going to.
All right. Quiet on set. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I hope you guys are in the Christmas mood because I am. Yes, this is the Sin Bin Hockey Podcast. My name is Matt. I am joined here with the legendary, the one, the only Jake Link, and we're going to talk about some hockey.
Ho.
More than packed news today. More than enough news. We're going to go for a very, very long time. And I hope you guys are going to join us for the ride. It's going to be very, very fun. So, as I alluded to, in case you guys heard, we were both talking about Sacha Baron Cohen. He's one of our favorites. Very funny guy. But I did say that once it's over, once Halloween is over, I get into the Christmas spirit. So I play Christmas music. If you guys don't like it, that's too bad for you. I love Christmas. I love that big guy with the white beard. I'm speaking of Santa Claus, of course. And yeah, I hope you guys join us for the ride. So Jake, tell me, How was your weekend, buddy?
My weekend was great. It was great. When you said, I thought you were going to say, by the way, just as per the conversation we were having, I thought you were going to say after the Holocaust. When you said Halloween, I thought you were going to say after the Holocaust. I
No,
like to
no,
get into
no.
the Halloween
Yeah.
spirit,
And we weren't
into the
joking
Christmas
about the
spirit.
Holocaust. We were just
No,
talking
no, no.
history. We're talking about the history of it. Okay, let's get off this
Yes.
subject quickly. So, so pretty eventful. To give you guys just a quick menu, let me just say we're going to talk about Mike Babcock getting fired. We're going to go into that a little bit more now that we've had a little bit of time to marinate on it. We're also going to talk about the whole controversy with Mitch Marner. I mean, did you get the thumbnail I put out, Jake?
Yes, the
That's
snitch Marner.
no. The one
Yes.
for this video right now. I took the poster of
I didn't.
Schindler's List and I photoshopped Marner's list onto it, and it has the Schindler List ads. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Mitch Marner situation going on. We're going to get into a Twitter war that I've had. I've officially been blocked on Twitter. It's my first. I've popped my cherry. And we're going to get into a lot more things. So we got Joe and Zach in the chat. Joe says, hi there. Sorry I missed the Habs Nation podcast yesterday. Girlfriend came over unexpected. Well, guess what? If your
Ooh.
girlfriend comes over unexpected, you guys get in bed, you snuggle up, and you guys watch the podcast together. Easy solution.
That's right.
Nah, that's okay, buddy.
Yeah.
Zach,
That's right. Hab Nation and Sinbin is hockey podcast for lovers.
hockey podcast for lovers. Zachary
That's right, yeah.
Colt says Montreal's losing streak. Yeah, it's not a good one. It's not a good streak. It's worse than the streak in my underwear right now. Stu Johnson says, ye Habs got to step it up, man. You got to step it up. We're playing like the New Jersey Devils in the beginning of the season. And that's not a good thing. We're just one losing streak after the other. One losing streak after the other. We can talk about that a little bit later. I did want to get into the Mike Babcock situation. Here's a picture of said Babcock. And like I said, he was fired earlier this week. I'm really lucky my dad texted me because I was sound asleep. He texted me and he said, Mike Babcock is out. I said, are you serious? He's like, yeah. I got out of bed. I didn't even put pants on. I put a video. Got a lot of views. Got a lot of subs. So I thank my dad for that one. But I have my thoughts. I don't think my thoughts really changed. I think Mike Babcock, he's a great coach in the year 2000. He's a great old school coach. He is. I don't think that his tactics apply to a team nowadays. We're going to get into that a little bit later with Mitch Marner. But Jake, now that you've had time to marinate, I know you're not a biggest fan of talking about the Maple Leafs. Neither am I. I talk about them more than I do my own team. But what do you think about Mike Babcock getting fired? Did he deserve it? Did he not deserve it? Maybe was it Dubas's fault and Mike Babcock was the fall guy? What is it?
I think a little bit of everything. I think when you have that much talent and you're not playing up to your talent and you're Mike Babcock or Babcock as you like to call him.
Yeah. Cleanest cock in the league.
Cleanest cock in the league. Yep. I think you come in with a certain amount of what's the word I'm looking
like
for?
a prestige almost.
You come in with a prestige and you're expected a little bit more than just some guy who used to be a scout or some coach who was the coach of the Marlies or something like that. Yeah. So I kind of think you have all that talent. You have 3 players making at least $10 million this season, and you have Freddie Anderson in the net. You have decent defenders and players like that, and then you come in and you come limping out. And then the comments from Ovechkin that and then you could tell that they kind of unraveled in a certain way. But I do think that that I think the best way to describe the Toronto Maple Leafs right now is too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yeah, that's true. And speaking about Leafs and Chiefs and whatever, I never mentioned this on this podcast, but you guys probably heard this ad nauseum. Why is it the Maple Leafs? Shouldn't it be the Maple Leaves? I always thought that was weird. This is a team with a grammatical mistake in their name. Is Leafs a word? I might be wrong. Can you guys confirm it? Anyway.
Is it apostrophe LS? Because it's the Maple Leaf.
No,
yeah, it should be the Maple Leaves.
It should be the Leaves. I have no clue why it's the Leaves. The Leafs. Anyway.
Leafs.
Yeah. Well,
the Montreal Gooses.
Yeah, I'm not the one to talk. I'm the team that they misspelled Canadians. They put a damn E in it. It should be an A. I don't want to offend French people out there. I know it's the French version. Now, Babcock leaving, that's not the only thing that happened. You see, once he left, a lot of reporters had story for him, and we're starting to unravel those stories. One of those stories involved none other than Mitchell Marner. So, I'm going to give you a brief overview. Sorry for my acid reflux. I'm going to give you a brief overview on this story in case you guys haven't heard it. But if you will, after this show is over, make sure to check out the video I just posted on my channel where I spoke about it a little bit more in depth. But this is a brief overview for Jake and for you guys out there who never heard of it. So, Mitch Marner. This is back in the 2016-17 season. I know we all know Mitch Marner now as being the point per game guy. He can score 90 points, great first line winger. Back then, he was playing on the fourth line with Matt Martin. Okay? By the way, Matt Martin looks like the testosterone version of Mitch Marner, but maybe that's just me. He's playing on the fourth line with Matt Martin. Things aren't really...
Sidney Esiason.
Yeah, things aren't really like sunshines and rainbows. So, Mike Babcock, he comes up to him. He says... Listen, kid, I want you to make a list. Like Santa Claus. Make a list, check it twice. Find out who's naughty or nice. But instead of that, I want you to make a list, and you're going to rank every player on our team in order of their work ethic. At the top of the list, put the ones with the best work ethic. At the bottom, put the ones with the worst work ethic. Obviously, being the good old Canadian kid he is, the good old humble Canadian kid from Ontario, he puts himself at the bottom. Mitch Marner says, "Oh well, I have the worst work ethic. I need to play better without the puck. I need to be a better player." He puts himself at the bottom, but directly above him, so the second and the third worst work ethics, he put Tyler Bozak and Nazem Kadri. Here's a photo of Nazem Kadri in case you guys forgot. He did play with the Leafs at some point. Now, the story doesn't end there. You guys may think this might be an exercise by the coach trying to I don't really know the goal of the exercise, but it might be some exercise by Babcock. He takes this list, goes over to Nazem Kadri and says, Naz, this is the list that Mitch Marner made. This is where he ranks you. This is what he thinks about you. And obviously, this caused a lot of controversy. Now, I'm hearing this story. I'm just thinking of high school. I'm thinking of high school and just how people would have secrets and they would go tell the other person and yada yada. Oh shit, I just thought about it. There was this girl, I'm not going to mention her name. Let's call her Irene. Her name was similar to Irene. She made a list. It's eerily similar to the situation. She made a list of the guys that she wanted to fuck. Like all of the guys in the school, and she ranked them. And she called it her to-do list. And this kid called Mark in Form 1. He took the list and showed it to all of the guys. I mean, juvenile, but that's pretty much what's going on here with Mike Babcock.
Now, were you on the list?
I don't know. Probably not. I didn't even make the cut. She didn't have enough paper. So, Jake, tell me, what do you think of this whole situation? Is Mike Babcock in the wrong? Is he in the right? What to make of this?
Okay, well, I kind of get what he was trying to do. I think he was trying to light a fire under their ass. Mm-hmm. With trying to get them to... You said, hey, Mitch, I guess you saw him as a leader in the locker room. And he's like, oh, well, I'm going to go, with the whole, make a list. Okay. So then, he makes a list. He puts himself at the bottom. And then he goes, oh, okay. Hey, guess what? Blah, 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 Bozak and Kadri and whoever else. He goes, guess what? This is what Marner thinks of you. So I think it was kind of I'll show him, and like, oh, he thinks that of me. Let me, bust my ass and go through a wall, show what I could do for this team. Though I don't agree with the behind it because professional athletes that like something like that might work in like high school or college.
Yeah.
But professional athletes are very sensitive.
Yep.
So I mean, and you're dealing, let's face it, even in the NHL, we have a bunch of good old Canadian boys and good old boys from from the cold parts of America. You have, they are professional athletes, and they do have a little bit of a diva type thing.
Oh, and you say
going on.
sensitive. Some reports say Mitch Marner, like after this whole situation, he was actually on the verge of tears. He was tearing up. He obviously really didn't like that situation. You know what I get from this whole thing? Moving away from the list thing itself. I put out a video, and it was the Maple Leafs locker room the day that they won with their new coach, Keefe. It was their first win, and it's looking at the locker room. And I'm looking at those group of guys. They look relieved. They look like a relieved group of guys. I feel like Mike Babcock, he was kind of, what's like that bowling ball attached to a chain attached to a leg? Is there a name for that thing?
Well, the ball and chain?
Ball and chain. He was kind of like a ball and chain. And he's the ball in this situation. So let's see the comments, what they say. Joe says Marner gets paid nearly $1 million more than Jack Eichel. That's sad. But you want something even sadder? He gets paid $2 million more than Leon Draisaitl. I mean, that's really sad for a guy who scores 50 goals and 100+ points. Jeez.
But like, here's the thing: Mitch Marner was in tears. Come on, dude, you're a professional. You're a professional hockey player.
Well, yeah, but Jake,
you're almost.
I said
tears.
in my video,
like,
players nowadays, they're not like in our generation where they were tougher, quote unquote, less sensitive. If you watch the Don Cherry movie, his coach put him through the ringer. He made him.
Oh yeah, Eddie Shore.
Eddie, yeah, that's his name. I was looking for his name. I
Eddie
called him.
Shore.
Yeah. He received a puck on his foot. He took his foot. He made it put in a hot bucket of water.
Ice, yeah.
And then in ice water, and then keep flipping them around. You can't do that with players nowadays, and they're more sensitive. That's why Mitch was on the verge of tears. And like moving away from the hockey aspect, that's a move by Mike Babcock that it can sort of turn the dressing room on you. It can turn it against you. And Mitch Marner, who's kind of a struggling player, and on top of that, he has his teammates turn on him. I sort of get why he was tearing up. And this is coming from a guy who cries all the time, so maybe I'm not a good source, but I kind of get, do you get why now? Or is it just me?
I mean, I kind of get, no, I get why, but like, pull yourself together, man. You're a professional hockey player.
Do you find he kind of looks like Zach from Zach and Cody?
A little bit.
Stu Johnson says $40 million on 4 forwards. This team is poorly built. Agreed. Zachary Huckle thinks that the Leaves sound weird. Joe says that they should be called Leaves, but I guess because it was made up a long time ago, they probably didn't have the greatest knowledge in grammar. That's probably true. Glenn S. says, hey guys, how's it been? Hey there, Glenn. Stu says that's some low-life move, probably referring to Mike Babcock. Joe says, I really wanted to watch the podcast yesterday, but my girlfriend made me watch the American Music Awards instead. Wasn't that bad, actually. Okay, good for you. Hey, look, it's okay if you can't watch it live. There's always the replay. No hard feelings. You got to spend time with the lady, keep her happy. Watch the American Music Awards. I would have gouged my eyes out, but hey, you got to keep her happy. Next story. How's that? You want to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's been a really dirty week in the NHL.
Oh,
we've had a lot of fines, a lot of suspensions, and we're going to start with Bortuzzo. So, Bortuzzo, he's in the crease. They're playing against the Nashville Predators. And look at this picture, Jake. What does it look like?
Whoa.
I just noticed it.
It's funny. He's being a predator to the predator.
Yeah. I swear to God, did not plan that. I just
I
noticed it.
didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't. You know, and I watched it. I didn't even think like of it. It's just
Yeah.
the shot that you got was like,
Yeah. So
yeah,
Bortuzzo, he's in the crease, and he gives a cross check in the back of Arvidsson. Arvidsson goes. I don't know if he hit the post with his face, but he almost goes face first into the post. He falls down. As if that's not enough,
pillow.
Bortuzzo comes back, gives him another really hard cross check. So, before I throw it over to you, I'm going to give you guys my initial reactions and my reactions now because I've sort of flipped. I've sort of flipped my mind. So, I see this move. I see him get cross checked. The first one to me, it was a penalty. It wasn't a suspension. The first cross check. Okay? And then for which reason, the first time I watched it, I completely missed the second one. So I had to watch it again. And I was thinking like, wow, 4 games for that. And then I see the second cross check. That shit was vicious. I don't care what you guys say. That thing could break someone's back. And I've seen in hockey, cross checks that the stick breaks. That's how hard it is. And I'm surprised that he wasn't laying on the ice in pain. Because that second cross check, it kind of made him bounce back up, which isn't a good thing. He kind of sprung off his legs and bounced onto his ass. Now, I was still a little iffy. Maybe I was at that point, I was like, okay, maybe 1 game, 2 games. And then I found out Arvidsson, he's not out for 1 day with a bruised back. He's not out for 4 days with a bruised coccyx, whatever it is. I don't have one of those, so I wouldn't know. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. That move, that useless stunt, it cost him 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm okay with the suspension. If you think it should be less, you should be more. If you guys don't think it was a suspension, it should be just a fine. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. I just want to add, before I move it all to you, what was almost as bad as Bortuzzo's move, what was almost as bad as this cross-check was Bennington. Did you see what he did after?
No, I don't think I did.
Earth to Jake. He's in the crease, Arvidsson. And he's just got cross-checked. Bennington just shoves him out of the way like he's a bag of groceries. I thought that was classless too. He probably didn't know he was injured, but still. Now, Jake, what do you guys think about it? What do you think about it?
Okay, well, Bortuzzo, the first hit that comes, it's like, okay, he looked like Arvidsson kind of sold that a little bit, and then he goes down, and like if you look, you could tell that Bortuzzo actually stops, kind of raises his hands up, like what, and then proceeds to cross check him on the ground. Now, this is actually not the first time he's did this against the Islanders.
Yeah.
It's this dude's signature move. It's like Steve Ott licking your face, or Marchand licking your face. This dude's signature move is a cross check while you're on the ground.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's getting hurt like that. Maybe it's not enough games.
Yeah.
Since he is a repeat offender. And it's not like something in the heat of the moment. The dude's on the ground, you heard a kick him while he's down. This dude's cross-checking him while he's down.
Yeah.
There was like no reason. I understand in the heat of the moment, but there was no reason for that extra hit.
Yeah. If, speaking of the Devils and Bortuzzo, if you remember, a couple years back while he was a member of the Penguins, he absolutely leveled Yager. And it was deemed interference. He also got suspended for that. And then the next game, Jordan Tutu, who was a member of the Devils. And guys, One thing that I must tell you, Native Americans or Native Canadians are tough as nails. There's something about them. They are tough mother effers. So the next game, Tutu comes. He fights Bortuzzo not once, but twice. And on the second time, he beats his ass. So if you don't like Bortuzzo for the cross-check, you want to feel good, look up Jordan Tutu versus Mark Bortuzzo, round 2. Is it Mark? I feel like it's not Mark. What's his fucking name, Jake? Bortuzzo, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I thought it was a Mark. Let's see. Glenn S. Oh, guys. Actually, let me read this comment first. Glenn S. says, "Hey, Matt, I really like the live chats. Well done. I have a rant. There's a guy I have absolute disdain for with everything I have, and that's Brendan Kelly. Jake, do you want to take a guess where Brendan Kelly works?"
I'm actually looking at it now. When I read it, I was like, "Oh boy, he's gonna."
It's the Gazette.
Glenn's gonna be salivating it a little bit more.
Oh, I am salivating at the mouth. So, Glenn, the reason why I'm salivating at the mouth and salivating through other parts of my body is that I recently got blocked on Twitter by a so-called Gazette writer. He writes for the Gazette. This guy is called Jack Todd. I'm going to talk about it, and I took screenshots of the tweets, so you guys know I'm not lying. I'm not making any of this up, and I want to hear your guys' opinion. And since I'm blocked by Mr. Todd, I really want him to hear about this. But for Glenn, I would love to hear your story, what happened with Brendan Kelly. I think I know him. He's the guy that takes his photos upside down. I think I know him. If you want, and only if you, and this goes for everyone, you guys can actually call in to the show. No one's actually ever done it except Jake, I guess, and Scott. If you go on Skype, you go user the sin bin, you give me a call, make it a voice chat. Your phone number won't be on or anything. It's just going to be your voice and we can talk about it. But for now, I do have a little story about Jack Todd. Actually, should we skip to it?
Yeah, go to it.
Okay.
You know.
So let me just give you guys a little bit of background. Jack Todd, as I said, he's a member of the Montreal Gazette. He writes for the Gazette. He's actually not Canadians, even though he covers the Montreal Canadiens. He's from America. I think Nebraska, if I remember. The reason why he came to Canada is because actually, I don't want to get into that. It might be a little too personal, even though he's written books about it. But he ended up coming to Canada. Now he writes for the Gazette. Now, I follow Jack Todd on Twitter. And I'm not really savvy with Twitter. I'm kind of new to it. And I was really kind of humbled. I followed him and he followed me back. I was sort of a little bit starstruck because this is the guy that I used to read all the time when I was young. You know, before we had iPads and iPhones and turkeys and whatever. I used to read the newspaper. So I was kind of starstruck. Now, I follow him on Twitter and I can honestly say this with every bone in my body. I've disagreed with every tweet he's put out. I do not agree with anything this guy says, and this is a guy who gets very political. He often veers off of sports. He's very opposed to Don Cherry. He's very opposed to the Conservative Party of Canada. He's very pro-liberal. I sort of swing the opposite. Now, that's not what's wrong, because I do think that, hey, if you think that this is if these are your opinions and you back them up, you're entitled to your opinions. But I took a few tweets that happened a while ago just to give you guys an idea of who this person is and the type of tweets he puts. So this is one of them. He's talking about the Don Cherry situation. He says, "You're a Syrian refugee. You have left behind a life of terror and starvation. You're trying to find your way in this big, cold country. Then you learn that you've been attacked by a TV demagogue because you didn't know you were supposed to buy a fake flower." Now, again, first of all, I don't know what's a demagogue. Is it like from Harry Potter or something? But
a demigod is like a human god.
Oh, okay. That's some high praise for Don Cherry. Anyway, that's an example. I disagree. I completely disagree. I go to a Syrian Orthodox church, Saint Ephrem Syrian Orthodox Church. We take in loads of refugees. We take in loads. We've taken them from Syria mostly, and Iraq and Lebanon. Now, these guys, it's absolutely true what he says. They come from starvation. They come into this big, cold country. That's true. Where I differ from you is that after all they've been through, the cold, the starvation, the everything, they don't really care what some guy says on TV. Again, those are my observations. I could go to the church and run the whole video. They're going to go and say, okay, so what? Who's this guy? I don't care. Take me to my next meal. I say this all the time. I recently went to Israel, okay? My tour guide, Raz, he's a well-known tour guide, I guess. He was the tour guide of Chuck Norris when he went to Israel. I don't know how we ended up talking about this, but remember in America when those clowns were coming into classes and terrorizing classes? These idiots would dress up as fake clowns. They would dress up as clowns and just go on campus. Some of them had guns, most of them didn't. So I don't know how. I'm talking to Raz about this. He goes to me, he laughs. He says, "You know what, Matt? I'm jealous of you. I'm jealous of your Canadian and American problems. You know what I live through? I live on the Gaza Strip, which is arguably one of the most dangerous places to live on this world." He lives on the Gaza Strip. He gets missiles in his backyards on a regular basis. And pretty much every week or every month, he has this bomb alarm. He has this alarm that goes off, and it can detect missiles that are being shot from like the other side, the Palestinian side. And once the alarm goes off, they have to stop what they're doing. If they're eating, they have to stop it. They have to go into the bomb shelter. Sometimes his kids, they read the news, and they know there's a little bit of conflict going on. They won't shower because they don't want to have to go in the shower and the bomb sounds and they have to run down naked. I mean, it's that bad. One of his kids, he got recently put on antidepressants because he had PTSD from the whole situation. So he's telling me that. He says, "I look at your problems and I'm jealous of you because they're nothing compared to my problems." Now, today, if Raz came into our country, somehow he managed to escape all of that, the Gaza Strip. You think he's going to come in our country and whine about Don Cherry? I don't think so. I really don't think so. This dude has bigger fish to fry. And I think it's the same for a lot of people. It's funny, most people I hear getting mad about and upset about this Don Cherry thing is people who've been in Canada for a very long time. And not the refugees, not the recent immigrants. So,
it's funny because you are of Syrian immigrants. This dude doesn't, this Jack Todd guy kind of doesn't have a leg to stand on because you are of Syrian refugee. I don't know if refugee is the right word.
Immigrant, yeah.
For
like my grandfather.
Syrian, yeah.
That's a good point because my grandfather who came in this country, I think I've said it once on this podcast. They don't have GPS in those days. He came all the way from Turkey, which now it's Turkey. Before it used to be Syria. Turkey claimed it. Or vice versa, sorry. So he's trying to get to Canada. He hears about this land called Canada. He really wants to get to Canada. All he has is a map. You know where he landed? He landed in fucking Mexico. So, and keep in mind...
Whoa! He really...
Yeah. And keep in mind, these guys, they don't have prescription medication. They don't have money. They don't have much food. He had to, work his way up back to Canada to have the life he wants for his kids. Do you think
warm Canada.
If my grandfather or my great-grandfather were still alive, may he rest in peace, do you think he'd be listening to this Don Cherry thing and say, I'm being attacked, no, he wouldn't care. He's going to say, I've been through fucking Mexico, I can go through this. Whether you agree with it or not, don't make it sound like they're being attacked. This is another one of his tweets, okay? He says, "There are far too many very angry, very tough, thoughtless people on this continent. Their rage stoked by people like Cherry and Rush Limbaugh, the angry white male demographic." The white male demographic. So that includes me. That includes you, because last I checked, we're both white. Full-blown fascism waiting to born. Now, again, I don't agree with it. I've never said anything. I've never tried to get him canceled. I never tried to get him off Twitter. It's his opinion. I'm not going to criticize a guy for his opinion. I can disagree. I don't think it's good to group all white male in a category and associate them with fascism. I think that's what Jessica Allen did, and I made a video about her where I wasn't too happy. This is another one, okay? And this is the last one. He says...
In my opinion of Jack Todd, now... he looks like somebody who should be hitting a bongo and a slam poetry.
This is the other one. Look, you right-wing keyboard heroes. I've had death threats from the Hiltons. God, I wonder what he did to them. So don't think your little weenie threats from your mama's basement means anything. Although they do reveal a great deal about Don Cherry's supporters. Now, first of all, my mother's dead, so I'm not in my mama's basement. I'm in my dad's basement, just so you're wondering. Second of all, this is what I've been saying, okay? I don't agree with him. I've never replied. I've never even unfollowed him because I truly think that no two people are going to think like me. If the world was all Matts, it would be a horrible place. We're allowed to disagree on some things, but
razors would be a premium.
Jesus.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
A lot of clog shower drains.
Yeah, so let me get to what happened specifically, and this happened last week. So I did a tweet to this guy. It wasn't Jack Todd. It was this mutual follow. His name is Grant McCagg. Now, in the chat, tell me, have you ever heard of Grant McCagg? I haven't. Apparently, he's this big shot veteran scout, but I'm gonna read what happened. So Jack goes to me and says, I wrote something. Jack goes, you go back and apologize to Grant McCagg and make it a good one. I'm fed up of that crap. And I wrote, wait, hold on. You got offended by that? It was playful at best. Here's some advice, Jack. Grow a thicker skin. You need it in the type of business you are. No, I will not apologize. He answers, I've spent the week with people telling me I need to die in a fire or get strangled with piano wire. Don't tell me my skin is too thin when you're too gutless to get a name. Now apologize to the man or get blocked. Now, you guys might be wondering, what did I write to this guy in order to elicit such a reaction? What did I write to him? Now, I've left it out purposely because I want to speculate. From Jack's reaction, you might think that I threatened to kill him. I threatened to screw his wife. I mean, it sounds that bad. Do you know what I wrote to him, Jake?
I see. You didn't show me that. I don't.
Yeah,
think.
And I don't have a tweet of it because it got deleted. So you guys need to take my word on this, okay? And by the way, I'm not proud of it. I'm actually the one who deleted it because I wasn't proud. But what I wrote to this guy, he put up a tweet. He said, oh, a lot of people are giving up on Kotkaniemi. You know, a lot of people are turning to Suzuki. They're done with that teddy bear, on to the new teddy bear. And we're forgetting about Kotkaniemi, who's had some great standout passes in this period. And, all of the standout passes. And I went and I wrote, coming from a Canadiens fan, I said, listen, Svechnikov, who was drafted right above Kotkaniemi, and Tkachuk, who was drafted right below Kotkaniemi, who later went on to score the OT winner, they're way ahead in their development. They're further in their development than Kotkaniemi. So take the standout passes and shove it where the light don't shine. I am not proud of that. I realize it's a classless...
That wasn't even...
But it wasn't even that bad. I didn't even say ass.
No.
Is it me?
No. No. Isn't Twitter what your opinions are?
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
This guy was tweeting, and then you came around and...
Okay, look, Jack...
Like, the way this Jack Todd guy was acting like you actually, like, you know, insulted his mother, like,
Exactly.
to her face.
Exactly. And
like, you know,
this
like,
is the reason
I
why...
thought, like, you did a racial slur or something.
I don't think it was that bad. I wasn't trying to insult the guy. I think I was trying to say something funny. He took it way out of context. Now, that first thread I showed you, this is one thread. And this second one, it's a completely different thread. So keep in mind, this one and this one, they're two different threads. It's important because he later goes on, he says, what makes you think you can talk to people like that? A veteran hockey scout? And you go all foul-mouthed over an innocent comment? Damn, I'm tired of guys like you. I've put up with it from Cherry's people all week, and I'm done. People like you? What do you mean, you people? And then I wrote, Jack.
Syrians.
I said, Jack.
Yeah, he's tired of Syrians.
I said, Jack, you seem like the type of person who has trouble tolerating other people's opinion. Maybe Twitter isn't the place for you. You are miserable. And then we get the block. Jack Todd thinks, you think a death threat is someone else's opinion? Man, blocking you isn't really enough. Show some guts and get a name. Now, the reason why I said it's two different threads is because he took what he said in the first thread, the guy threatening to choke him, and in the second thread, I'm talking about my opinion, what I said, and he applied it to the death threats and said that I called death threats a personal opinion. Jack, that is besmirchment of character. And the fact that you blocked me before I got the chance to clarify it, what you ended up doing to me is worse than what I wrote to the guy in the first place. So don't call me a coward. Don't call me any which word. Come on the fucking show, dude. I'm putting it out there. Chat. You guys in the chat, make sure to tweet this to Jack Todd. I can't because he's blocked. Jake, you do it. I think I've been respectful. I've followed all of the facts so far. You're going to besmirch my character and say that the death threat is an opinion? That is fucking classless of you, Jack Todd. I want you to come on the show and apologize, and we'll fucking hash it out. And not debate. We're not going to have an argument. We're going to talk like adults. I know I'm getting emotional, but I really don't take that lightly, Jack. I thought you're better than this. I think that for a guy whose job is to read and write, and for a guy of your age and your stature, I think you read it completely wrong, and at least come on the show so I can clarify it. Because the fact that you go and write something like that, something that's out for the world to see, and then you block me before I get a chance to change, shame on you, Jack. Shame on you.
Yeah, no, this is... I don't even know what to say. Like you said, like it was just some playful just banter. And like, this is like what happens like when like his reaction is like how drunk people react. And like it just reminds me of that. There was one time I went to go meet a friend at a bar. It was football Sunday, and I'm a Jets fan, and my friend that we went to go meet, she's a Cowboys fan, and I made a joke about the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. She laughed or something. I don't even know what I said, but there was this drunk guy, at least like 50 years old, saying, "Want to fucking come say that to my face about your goddamn Cowboy?" Like, it started to just goes like getting on my face, and the fucking bouncer had to come and separate us. It was like, dude, chill. You know what, Jake? It's only football, but like this guy, like it just reminded me of that. Like this guy, just like like
the fucking vitriol. And
I really took it out of proportion.
He took it out of proportion, and I wish he would see the comments I get on YouTube. It's triple what I wrote. It is so much worse. It is so much like, in fact, the day I wrote that, I made a video about Mike Babcock before. Someone wrote to me that he wants to ejaculate in my anal cavity or something like, he made some anal sex joke. Okay. You know what I did? I didn't block him. I didn't say anything. I laughed. I don't believe in blocking people first unless he like says something really out of proportion. I will rarely block anyone because I really believe in freedom of speech. I really do. Now, Jack, what if I were to take your mentality and every time someone writes something wrong to me on YouTube, I just completely flip out? At some point, you kind of have to make it like water on a duck's back. Just let it roll off, dude. Let it roll off. And the fact that you call me out on something so like nothing. I wrote a message to him later because I had his email. I put a message and I said, listen, we calmed down now. I don't think what I wrote was very classy. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But I don't really like how you came at me and pretended to be my mom and told me to apologize. I mean, sometimes you're going to see comments you don't like. It's our right to comment, okay? It's not your right to agree with everything. You can't go and flip out on everyone. He wrote a fucking tweet. He said, I've been arguing with, I'm paraphrasing, so don't quote me on this. He says, I received 50 tweets from Cherry supporters. I only had time to reply to 25 of them and show them up. 2 of them had the guts to never answer back. My question to you, Jack, why are you taking the time out of your busy day? Maybe it's not that busy. You are a journalist after all. Why are you taking the time out of your day to reply to these guys? Fucking let it be. Grow a thicker skin. And I'm serious. If you end up seeing this somewhere, somehow, you are invited at any single time. I will treat you with respect because I do respect where you've made it in life and the point where you are in life. I don't respect being misquoted, which is kind of ironic because it is part of your job, but I don't respect being misquoted, and I don't respect the way you handled it. You handled it very like a juvenile way of handling it. I'm a little bit upset. Jack Todd, you win the Idiot of the Week award.
Okay.
Zachary Hacolt says, I agree with Joe. Glenn S. says, if you want to rant on a guy, every one of Brendan Kelly's articles under What the Puck are pathetic and just want to stir controversy, political and Habs as a whole. Yeah, and I tell you what, I don't read the What the Puck. I will probably disagree with him politically. I don't necessarily have a problem with that because I'm always the type of person, if I disagree with you politically, you have your opinion, I have mine. I'm just going to go read this article instead. But my problem is the people like Jack. I didn't show this one, I think. This is after Don Cherry got fired. And he writes to Stu Cowan, he says, damn you. I've been trying to get the CBC to fire Cherry since 1994. You write one column and he's gone. That's Red Fisher power right there. This is what I'm talking about. Jack, you disagree with Don Cherry. That's fine. I am not forcing you to agree with him. Don't watch him. Why try to get him fired? I actually think it's a coward move on your part. It's despicable. Because Don Cherry, forget about him. He's rich. He's successful. He's well off. He'll survive. What about the other person you disagree with? The one who's starving, who needs to depend on this job to survive. You're going to disagree with him and try to get him canceled? Don't try to get him fired. Don't try to get him canceled. Freaking ignore it. Don't watch Coach's Corner. I've disagreed fundamentally with every single one of your tweets. Not once that I try to block you or spam you or try to get you off of Twitter. No. Because I'm a fucking man. When are you going to realize it, dude?
And here's the thing: it took him 25 years that he couldn't even get the job done. You know, I'm just saying, like, you know.
No, but Jake, like, what if
No. I'm just trying to say, like, if he's been trying to get Cherry fired since '94, and we're in 2019. Now, I'm not great at math. That's 25 years that he's been trying to get a man fired. A guy who says it was a good chance of saying at least 4 controversial things a month. Mm-hmm. And this wasn't even the worst. And I highly doubt that that's not why he got fired. It blew up. You know, that's what got him fired. Not an article.
It's just this whole cancel culture. It's toxic.
Yeah, cancel culture.
Because look, I gotta say, my values, my ethics, my politics, I'm pretty sure not a lot of people agree like me. I'm pretty much in the minority when it comes to my political thinking. What if I went to everyone on YouTube I disagree with and everyone on the Gazette that I disagreed with and tried to get them canceled? There wouldn't be a Gazette anymore. I won't do that because it's their right to say what they want. It's their opinion, you know, unless you're saying something like completely out there. It's your opinion to trash Cherry. It's your opinion to support Trudeau. I can't argue with you.
This is America, and if you don't like it, you could get out.
Yeah, I have a problem for those of you out there who can't tolerate what I'm saying and who can't tolerate what other people are saying. And it's not enough for you to just shut the TV and go on with your day. You have to go and try to get them fired. I think it shows something wrong with you. I really do. Jack, if you're listening, I respect you. I really do. I read your article all the time. I'm sort of disappointed of how this happened. I would like to talk through it. hashing out isn't the right way to put it because I really want to talk through it. I don't like how you said that it's an opinion for it to be choked by piano wire, because that is not what I said. You took what was written in another thread and you took my comments in a completely different thread and then put 2 and 2 together. That is not right. That is absolutely not right. And if you're going to call me a coward for not saying my name, and by the way, I've said my name many times on this podcast, if you're going to call me a coward for not saying my names, then show you have balls. Come on the show and let's talk about it.
His name is Tommy C.
I'll kick Jake out. I'll put you instead of Jake, okay?
Yeah.
I'll still have Jake on audio probably, but still, let's talk about it because that's not right. And unlike those people telling to choke you with wire and that you should die in a fire, I'm not that type of person. You sort of grouped me into them, but I'm really not that type of person. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk to you. And hey, maybe I might be wrong. And in that case, I'll say, yeah, I was wrong. You're right, Mr. Todd. I owe you an apology. But there's one thing that I don't think I'm wrong about. And that is, I didn't say it's an opinion for someone to be choked by piano wire. I have it right there. I took screenshots. The proof is in the pudding. So there you have it. Someone please send this out.
I say, I was told to die in a fire or get choked with piano wire, and maybe I should retire.
Yeah, well, I agree with that last part.
He sounded like a slam poet. That's what he said. Choke with piano wire, die in a fire.
Yeah, for sure. Oh boy, so who was it? Glenn S. You asked about Brendan Kelly. We went out on a huge tangent. I hope you liked that. Do you want to see what... You know when Jack Todd's telling me to apologize to him? And then I should go and apologize. All I could think of in my head was this.
Get it, wipe it off my shit now! First it's in my hair, then it's on my clothes, it's on my boyfriend's shirt! You're gonna sit here like a pussy? Apologize like a fucking man! Hey! Yeah, it's over. Really? He can't stand up and apologize!
You're gonna go and insult Grant? Apologize! He's a veteran hockey scout! Apologize! Joe says, all right, let's move on to hockey. I'm sorry if I bored you guys to tears with that soliloquy, but it's just something I had to get off my chest. That and a lot of hair. But Joe says, slowly, Jake is becoming a voice in my head, beginning to live rent-free in my brain.
Hey, listen, I'm like a fucking earwig.
Yeah. Glenn S. says, okay. What's your thought on Shane Gostisbehere being scratched and possibly Habs perhaps exploring to... Ooh, fuck, I didn't know that. Did you know he was scratched?
Ooh.
Okay, I'm going to tell you my thoughts raw. Thanks for bringing that to my attention, Glenn. So, Shane Gostisbehere, he's had a good season. He had a season where he got 65 points. Let me just pull out his statistics so you guys can see. After that season, where he scored 65 points, he kind of, not to say he dropped off the face of the universe, but he never was able to follow it up. I got it right here. Boom. There you got it. Shane Gostisbehere. If you look at that 2017-18 season, which it's only 2 years ago, mind you, he got 65 points. Everyone was saying this guy is the next big offensive defenseman. 65 points, 10 plus minus. The next year, couldn't follow that up. He got 37 points, 78 games played, and a minus 20. So I was amongst the people who said, well, he had a good year. He had a bad year. Maybe this year he's going to bounce back. Now, it appears based on those statistics, it doesn't really look like he's going to bounce back. At 22 games played, 6 points. You're on pace for not even 40 points. You're on pace for 30-something points. So, right now, Shane Gostisbehere, I think it's safe to say, his value is at an all-time low. It's at an all-time low. I mean, the kid just got scratched. There is no better time to trade for him. I don't know if the Flyers would want to do it. because of the reasons that I mentioned, but there is no better time to trade for him. If I were the Canadians, I would really, really consider targeting this guy. I would. Because, first of all, 37 points on a bad year, that's not horrible. It's not great. It's not horrible either. He's going to hurt you in the defensive zone. He absolutely is. But what if we were to play him with someone like Shea Weber, who's defensively sound? And then you tell Shane, you say, hey, go and do whatever you want. Go and get points. And yeah, Glenn's $4 million cap hit. Very digestible. Very digestible. And playing him with Shea Weber, what happens, Ben Sherriott, he slots down. He plays with Petrie, probably in his natural second duo role. And then whoever was playing in the second role, was Mete? He can slot down and play with Kale. I don't know. Maybe you have Sherratt playing with Kale Fleury and then Mete playing with Petrie. That may be a little bit better. Who knows? I would absolutely go for this. Absolutely. Again, depends on the price. I would give up some draft picks because we're loaded with draft picks. I would steer away from like the Palings and the Suzukis and the Caulfields, but draft picks and other B-grade prospects, I'm down. Jake, do you know much about Shane in terms of his play?
I know he was a pretty big prospect, and he had a couple good years.
Yeah,
like earlier, and I know he was a very highly sought after player in the Flyers system.
Yeah,
and but now, I mean, wow, I was actually shocked to see how bad those numbers were.
Yeah,
and then the fact that they're gonna try and get some money off. They're gonna sell him at a low value. It's just.
And he's a UFA in 2023, Glenn says. Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. If you remember that year where we played fantasy, he was the player that everyone wanted because he was getting crazy points. And I was thinking, man, who the hell drafted this guy? He just came out of nowhere. Joe says, I think
he's one of those.
Go ahead.
He's one of those flash in the pan type players,
yeah, that
you can't figure out, and all of a sudden he's just all of his one year these guys are on, and then all of a sudden they're not. You know who's like that? Thomas Vanek when he played with Buffalo.
Yeah,
he was during that one lockout year. He's a guy that blew up, got big, went to a couple teams and a gambling problem, and now, he's just some dude.
Yeah.
Very pedestrian.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you two quick would you rathers, one for you and one for the chat. I'm going to start for the one for you. Will Butcher for Gostisbehere 1-for-1. Would you do it?
No.
No?
No. I like Will Butcher.
Oh, okay. I would do it in a heartbeat.
I think Will Butcher he's actually been putting up a couple points.
Okay.
These past couple weeks, and
Okay. Okay, this is one for the chat for you Canadians fans. And if you guys have so many Canadians questions, feel free to join me on, I think, Sundays for the Habs Nation podcast. I'm putting myself in the skin of the Flyers management. I'm giving away Shane Gostisbehere. I want another quick offensive-style defenseman. So my question for you, would you trade Shane Gostisbehere for Victor Mete 1-to-1? I would not. I personally would not. I think that Mete, he's younger. He's better on the defensive side. He may not get as many points, but he's better on the defensive side. I would not. But I'm just exploring that idea because if I were the Flyers management, that is what I'm asking for. Now, why don't we move on?
If I was I would probably, maybe for like a 4th round pick or a 5th round pick.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's what the Flyers are going to try and get for him.
4th? Only?
Well, they're selling low.
That's like basement low. That's like Jack Todd tweets low. All right.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah, that is pretty low.
Yeah, 3rd.
I think we have time for one last story. God, we've been for an hour. It just flew by. Is it just me?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no,
it did. I can't believe it went by this quick either.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us in the chat, and before we get to our last story, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys following and sticking around and asking your great questions. Glenn, Joe, who else? Zach. Thank you, all of you. I really am getting anxious. I want to hit 1,000. That's my goal. I set the end date for January. So if you guys could just give me a hand and promote it, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on whatever platform you guys are, if you can just give me a huge helping hand and promote it, it would be greatly appreciated, and it would keep the show rolling. So if you guys can do a great favor for me. Now, I gotta say, I wanted to talk about Keith Yandel. This guy lost his teeth, came back the next game, so his Iron Man streak continues, 820 games. But instead, we're going to go to Garnet Hathaway. He's in trouble. He recently got fined and suspended for 3 games for a spitting incident involving Anaheim defenseman Eric Goodbranson. Hathaway will forfeit $24,000. Now, that is one expensive loogie. I don't think it was classy.
That is a big fucking loogie he got going.
Oh, and I think if you watch the replay, you can see it hit him right in the face. That was disgusting. Now, I do gotta say, just like how I said my tweet was classless, I think this is pretty classless. But let's not forget, did you see what the reason he spat on him was?
No, I didn't. But
the referees are holding. They're holding Garnet Hathaway. He can't move. He can't throw a punch. Goodbranson lays 2 grade A prime quality punches right to his chin. One of them, his head just went flying like kapoof. Does it make it right that he spat? No. It does not make it right, but it makes it understandable. I mean, after the game, Goodbranson said something like, oh, that's pretty low and that's pretty bad and yada, yada, yada. Yes, but you did punch him while the refs were holding him. So, Jake.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think like spitting on somebody on purpose, there's no bigger way of disrespect somebody.
Well,
you know,
there's other bodily fluids that would be worse that I can imagine of. But
okay, but like as far as I mean, some people pay for that, you know.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. I have a spit fetish. I'm not even joking. I'm not gonna get into that. Kappa, whatever. Okay.
Kappa.
So. Thank you, guys.
There we go. We made this for adults now. Matt has a spit fetish. We can click the adult button now.
Oh, yeah. You know what's the worst part? I went to church, and the reason...
This is quite a segue. I have a spitting fetish, and you know what is... I went to church.
Yeah. No, you'll see the segue.
Okay.
It's not about... It's about the dirtiness. I went to church, and when I go to church, I learn a lot. Believe it or not, the way I acted now with Jack Todd, I think it was mild. I mean, I was ready to go guns a-blazing and to be much ruder. But first of all, I think if I did that, it would discredit me. And second of all, when I went to church, they were talking about how St. Paul, he said, beware of sexual immorality or whatever. And he also says that beware the way when you speak. Beware of your tongue when you speak, to not lash out on others with your tongue. So I'm thinking of that, and I'm like, oh man, maybe on YouTube, maybe I shouldn't say the F word as much. Maybe not abolish it, but, you know, limit it to 1 or 2, maybe 3. And then YouTube comes out with this COPPA thing. In case you guys don't know, what COPPA is, you have to either make your videos for kids or for adults. There's no in between. If you check that it's for adults and it ends up being for kids, you get fined. If you check that it's for kids and your video ends up being for adults, you get fined. So in order to make sure that it's for adults and this isn't for kids, I have to throw in a little dirt, you know, going against what St. Paul says. I had to throw in a little bit of dirt just to solidify the fact that this isn't for children.
St. Paul didn't have to deal with COPPA. So.
Oh boy.
Unless he said, he said. Then at the end he said, unless you're gonna get a YouTube strike.
Okay, so for those of you out there, Eddie, he says nothing says I dislike you quite like a flying phlegm. Eddie has the great comments. He has the best comments.
Yeah.
So Eddie, Joe, Glenn, Zach, all of you who are listening, thank you for joining us. Let me see, Stu, I think he was there for a bit. Thank you for joining us. I had a blast. Did you like it, Jake?
I did.
Did I go too far, or was I okay?
No, you were perfect. You were fine.
Okay, if you guys could be kind enough to smash that like button and to subscribe to my channel to get to 1,000, it would relieve a lot of anxiety, first of all, and it would just really help me out. And so make sure to like it, subscribe, follow us. We have every show. We're going to move it. The next show is actually going to be on Friday, right, Jake?
Yeah, not this Friday, the Friday after.
The show is moving over to Friday as opposed to Monday, which it is right now. And it's going to be the same type of things. You guys can join in the live chat. You guys can, it's going to be there live. Make sure that if you guys want to call in and chat, you can always call in, Skype, user the Sinbin, and we can have some fun, chat. You can voice your opinion. Sometimes it could be tedious writing it. But if that's it, do you have anything else to add, Jake?
Yeah, just thank you guys. Thank you guys for just getting us even to the amount of subs that we have now. I mean,
yeah,
we're really plugging along, and just keep it up.
Yeah, no,
tell a friend, and tell a friend.
I know we come off as two overweight hairy men that don't care about anything, but no, we are really humbled about this. We are quite humbled. I would have never guessed I would make it this far in the subscription, and I know I'm like a small fish compared to other people. But hey, I think we're growing, and I couldn't do it without you guys. So thank you very much. And without further ado, my name is Matt. Keep your stick on the ice.
Peace.